Hello, welcome back to this YouTube page, Slice of Pie, I'm Professor Kent, and I'm going to explain on today's video, about different tests, English tests to use to go overseas. Of course, the TOEFL test. We talked before on this channel about the Aiken test, which is popular in Japan, the TOEIC test, which is popular for business, and the TOEFL test, which is used for North American colleges. So if you want to go to North American college, like here, you can see here, maybe this is Europe, so Italy or Spain or Portugal over here. So if you want to go from Europe or over here, Asia, if you want to go somewhere to North America, so to the other side of the world, Canada, America, then you need this test. So last time we talked about today we're going to talk about writing and speaking. I think last time we talked about reading and listening. This test has 4 sections. There's 2 kinds of tests. Either the paper-based test, as you can see here, it used to be called the computer test. Either the computer test or the paper test, or nowadays it's called the IBT, internet-based test, or the PBT, paper-based test. So we're going to go over which one of those you should join. So of course, we talked in the last time about, like I just said, the listening and the reading. So now we're going to talk about writing and speaking, which are active skills. Of course, listening and reading, of course, are passive skills. You just receive information. Today about active skills on the test. So the third section will be writing. So on the writing IBT, internet-based test versus the paper-based test, very similar, but the big difference is on the IBT, the internet-based test, you have 2 questions. And they're both in writing, but independent writing, and they last about 50 minutes. So the 2 questions put together, you have about 50 minutes to write. And the scale of the test is from 0 to 5, which that might be why you hear that a lot, like I got a 4, I got a 3. Where the paper-based test is basically one independent task, and you have, instead of 50 minutes, 50, you have 30 minutes to do the test. And instead of the scale of 0 to 5 for your score, the paper-based test is 0 to 30. So you have up to 30 points you could get. But of course, on the internet-based test, up to 5. So that's the writing part. Then on the speaking part, or I should say the 4th part, is for the internet-based test is speaking, because they can do it online. But for the paper-based test is actually grammar. I like to call it grammar. I think in the book it's called structure. In this book, it's called structure and written expression, of course. So I'll do the paper-based test first. The paper-based test has structure and written expression, basically testing your grammar as quick as possible, because you have 40 questions in that section, and in 40 questions you have 25 minutes to finish, and do your best with how much grammar you know. So if you're better at grammar, then the paper-based test might be better for you. But on the internet-based test, instead of the grammar section, they have a speaking section, which I think is fun, because speaking, of course, is active. Like I said before, I talked about the TOEIC speaking tests versus the TOEIC just reading and listening test. Showing that you can produce language, of course, will impress your colleges, impress your future job better. So on the internet-based test, like I said earlier, 25 minutes for 40 grammar questions for 25 minutes on the paper-based test. On the internet-based test, you have between 17 and 20 minutes to record your answer with a microphone. And they'll ask you questions, for example, in these areas like personal life, achievements, hobbies, interest, friends, family. So in those areas. And I found some good example questions on the net. So I'll show you now. Let me see, where's my screen? Here we go. So here's some good, I'll link in the show notes later, but here's some good example questions you can practice. Oh, sorry, an advertisement popped up. You can practice at home, for example, general TOEFL sample speaking questions, some popular ones from 2021, 2022. For example, how did you deal with the pandemic and lockdown situation? Good question. Describe your most impressive moment in your life. Of course, generally at the top, till now, who is the best teacher you have come across and why? So these are some great questions. If you're going to do a job interview in America too, these are some great example questions. Agree or disagree questions, preference questions. So I'll link these in the show notes. So hopefully, if you watch the last video and this one, now you can understand what's included in the TOEFL. So of course, it has 4 sections we've done so far: listening and reading. We did in the last video, and this video, of course, we had speaking or grammar and those videos. So, and of course, also speaking, grammar, listening. Yes. So in order to produce language, of course, you need all 4 skills: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So if you can do well on this test, it proves that you can do well on all 4 skills, and it will help you enter an American university class. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like below and give us a comment and subscribe and share these with your friends and family. We want more people to learn more English quicker, and watch these other videos on our channel to help you out with your English study. Thanks again. Have a good day.